Welcome to Connecting Greeks, a streaming comedy show and podcast designed to explore and enhance Greek culture around the world. Join hosts Angelo, Adi, and Foti as they bring you fun and interesting guests from all walks of Greek life. Grab a kafedaki and join us.
Hey everyone, thank you for joining us for another amazing episode of the Connecting Greeks podcast. Today's episode is something that is... When you meet our guest, you'll know it's something very near and dear to my heart. I'm pretty sure that Foti and Angelo feel the same. And speaking of Foti and Angelo, let me say hello to Foti first. How are you, Foti?
Good and yourself, Ari?
I'm doing very well. I'm very excited about our guest. Somebody that I believe our esteemed co-host Angelo has already some experience with. So I am bringing Angelo on. What's up, Angelo?
Hey, Foti. Hi, Ari. How you doing? Good to be back on Connecting Greeks.
Yeah, it's been a little while.
It's been a while on the road, but we're back. It doesn't matter when, like true Greek tradition, it doesn't matter where you pick up or where you left off. We always connect.
Always.
That's the secret to this. And this, I got to meet this young lady on tour when I was in Australia last month, and very unique. I had seen her postings on Instagram. And we share a very common thing, food. But interestingly enough, she goes by the handle of Gyro Queen. And I found out why when I was there. And I'm so happy we have her on the show today, all the way from Sydney, Australia, the Gyro Queen, Kelly. Kelly, welcome to Connecting Greeks with the gang. How are you?
Hi, guys. I'm very
Kelly.
well, thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be on the show.
We are excited. We are very excited.
You know, I got to say, gentlemen, that, you know, we have guests from all over, but for some reason, whenever we could get guests on from Australia, it's even more special.
Yeah,
it is, because they really carry a uniqueness about Hellenism that I've seen that you don't find pretty much anywhere else in the world.
Yeah, and you also love our accents. That's why.
That's
very true. But you know what? You guys all have great disposition. I've never met an Australian that was like a sourpuss or like a downer.
Oh, like us?
They're all very, very like. I just feel nice.
Yeah, you know the stereotype that we have for Canadians, you know, being the friendliest people on earth. It's actually quite similar for us, for Australians here as well. They're extremely, extremely friendly. I haven't met one Aussie that hasn't been friendly. So yeah, we're very lucky in that aspect.
What happened to us? Like, why is that?
Please don't talk about the United States stereotype. Let me go get a couple of guns and rifles, and maybe we can talk about
sort it out.
Oh, God.
No pun intended. No, but I always said this. I said, Australia is like Canada, but with better weather. That's how I look at Australia. And, and it's interesting because, so here's the thing. We Kelly contacted me when we were in Sydney. And she goes, I really like to bring you on my new podcast, and I'd like to go have a gyro with you. So I'm going to go from that. So I'm like, yes and yes. You had me at, do you? And I'm like, yeah, yes. So
go with a pretty lady to eat a gyro.
Right. With a gyro.
I'm failing to see it.
And her big Greek boyfriend, Ari, was there. His name's Ari.
He was third wheeling.
He was and we went to a place, and this couple ran it from Thessaloniki. Let me tell you something. I'm going to start from here, and we're going to talk about how Kelly's journey is on this. I got a bifteki on pita gyro with their sauce. It is still the best bifteki gyro pita I've ever had in my life.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah, what was the name of the place again, Kelly?
Mega. It's called Mega Gyros. So I'm actually going there after.
Okay, I hate you now because I want to go there. And guys, it was so good. And we had a nice conversation about her obsession with gyros. And I thought it's so cool that you are such a gyro fan, like a lot of people are, and that you travel around eating gyros, you rate them, people invite you. So Kelly, tell us, because everybody's going to be interested, what got you into this? What's your fixation with the gyro?
Well, it's what you said. Like, you got to do what you love in life, and what I love is gyro. So I thought, why not just do that as a full-time job? But no, it actually started like when I was in Greece. I was visiting my mum who lives in Athens in 2019, right before COVID. And yeah, like I had so much gyro within the space of a week that I ended up being sick. I went to hospital, and
right. I was going to ask you that. So you ate so much that you OD'd gyro.
And I'm not even joking. That's the clinical term that the doctor used. He told me I had an overdose of gyro, and they put me on a drip.
Well, what happened to your body? Like, what were you feeling?
It just crashed on like the 5th day of having it 2-3 times a day. I just couldn't function. I was really sick. I didn't know what was wrong with me. I was just feeling these like, sort of ill feeling. And my mom took me to the hospital, took me to Lifada hospital, because we don't go to just anything, Right. And yeah, they told me that, they asked me what I had eaten, and I told them I had gyro, and they're like, what else have you eaten? I'm like, oh no, I just had gyro for a week. And they're like, why did you do that? I'm like, I came all the way from Australia. If you think I'm going to eat something else, you're wrong. So they made me stop having it for 4 days. It was the longest 4 days of my life. And yeah, in that period of time, I realized that I had been taking photos of all the gyro I had eaten while I was there. And so I thought, well, why don't I make an Instagram and just put those photos on the Instagram and see what happens? But then last year, when we had our COVID lockdown here in Sydney, I was bored out of my mind. We were all working from home and we're just sitting on the couch, nothing to do. And so I was just scrolling through my Greece memories, looking at, like, I was expecting to see, some photos of Athens or wherever I went. And my whole camera roll was literally just souvlaki. So I was like, well, I'll just put these on the Instagram. I branded myself as the Gyros Queen. And then I was completely shocked by the reaction that I got. All these restaurants just sending me messages to come and try their gyro and come and try their Greek food and rate them. And then it happened in Melbourne, and it's just happening all over the world. So it's quite fun. But the funny thing is, like, when Angelo was here, I just thought, I'm just going to try my luck and slide into the DMs and say, hey, do you want to go for a gyro? Because that's my love language, And I didn't expect him in any way to be like, yes, I'll come. And then straight away, he's like, when are we going? So it was so much fun.
I got to say, Angelo, out of anyone that's out there, if anyone's going to respond to you, it's Angelo.
Yeah,
100%.
No, Angelo's great. Angelo's great when it comes to
Greek. Right. I got this attractive Greek woman saying, do you want to go for a gyro? Yes.
Did you check to see if this was like? Did she make a mistake? Is that what you're saying when you got the message?
No, but what I found interesting about you, Kelly, is that, do you want to go for a gyro? I'm like, I was jonesing for a gyro so bad.
Oh wow!
And when you said that to me, I'm like, is this a joke? Like, it's o Theos musculi αυτό το Αγγέλιο να πάνε να φάνε gyro? Yes, I'm gonna go have gyro with you. It was great.
Yeah. It was very trusting of you, because what if I was like some 2-meter tall guy trying to kidnap you, and that's
here's the deal.
I've had
DMs. So Ari, I've had DMs where people are a little off kilter, and they're like, I want to meet with you and this and that. But the thing that disarmed me was the gyro. It wasn't like you said, let's go to a bar or let's go hang out. You're like, do you want to go have a gyro with me? And I said, for every woman out there looking for a man, especially a Greek man, you better watch this podcast, because Kelly, this is how you disarm a Greek man. Send him a DM and say, hey, would you like to go have a gyro with me? I'm telling you, 99.9% the answer is going to be yes.
But I'll tell you what, though, here's a little secret. It doesn't work the other way around, because I'm getting these DMs on the daily, and they're like, do you want to grab a gyro with me? Do you want to grab a gyro with me? And I'm like, no, that's creepy. I can only say
it. That's creepy now.
I can only imagine what you get.
I just found it so interesting. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, to your point, when I came across Kelly's page, I'm like, wow, finally someone's doing a page on gyro. And I saw the work that she did. I'm like, we got to contact her, because this is beyond cool. So at least on our end, we reached out to you because, for us growing up, gyros was the thing. It was like part of our culture that we can brag about to our non-Greek friends. Like, gyro was the thing of our time, and it still is, right? But so we actually reached out to you because we came across your page.
Well, that's the thing. I'm wondering why no one has done this earlier, because there's tons and tons of pages on Instagram that are, for brunch or for pizza. There's plenty of people doing pizza or doing Italian food or just anything really. There's so many food bloggers, and there's not one food blogger that's specifically, doing Greek food, at least here in Sydney, where we have so much beautiful Greek food. We have so many Greeks, as you guys know.
Yeah.
So I thought someone has to step up and do this. So, I sacrificed myself.
Let me ask you this. Okay, so do you do all Greek food, or is it gyro specific?
It was just gyro at the start, but then I was like, you know what? I'm going to all these beautiful places, and they're inviting me, and they're just giving me like a whole table full of Greek food. I can't just be promoting that one thing.
I was going to say, if you want to grow and you want to like get a big following and grow, I feel like there's a cap as to how much gyro in Australia that you could possibly like find and review and without like constantly repeating yourself.
The cap was certainly the overdose. So
that's the first part. The first part you answered that you're doing all Greek food now. So then the second part is, do you see like a future of like going to other places and doing this? Because it seems like you could.
So that's the dream. That's what I'm hoping to do. So I actually was working in advertising all this time, running different social media accounts and all that. And I thought, why don't I just do this for myself? And I didn't expect the Gyros Queen to pick up like it did. So I'm very grateful that I've had so much support. And I'm getting all these random messages from people in Greece and saying, well done that you're promoting our culture and stuff. But I feel like at some point, with the way the internet is these days, I feel like at some point people are going to start being like, well, gyro isn't the only thing that we eat. And, that's a fair point, because we have such a rich cuisine. Being Greek, we're very, very lucky that we have such a rich cuisine. We have so many different foods. And so I wouldn't just want to be promoting this one food for the rest of my life. That will probably lead to a lot of cholesterol for me. So I would love to be promoting all Greek cuisine. And, ideally the dream is for me to be traveling to all these different places where there's so many Greeks, obviously outside of Greece, so even America or, Canada, other places in Europe as well, to be promoting Greek food and Greek cuisine and ultimately Greek culture. So I'm hoping to go to Greece at the end of this summer, so end of August. That's what I'm hoping to do for about 5-6 weeks. And I'd love to work with some of like the restaurants over there and promote some of their stuff too. But also there's so many places that have also messaged me, for example, in Boston or in Chicago or in even Montreal, that are messaging me and telling me you have to come and try our food. And that's pretty much what I want to do in life.
That's so cool.
Interestingly enough, Kelly, I've on my travels on the road, I'll go to a Greek restaurant and I give them a shout out. I started something in Chicago, and it's leading up to you. I had a Chicago gyros, which I think are delicious. But there's a place in Bayside, New York called Fontana that has an amazing gyro. I didn't say one was better than the other. I said, because the big rivalry in America is, Chicago and New York for gyros. I said, which one do you think is better, Chicago or New York? And it started a shit show, because Greeks are very proud of their food, as you know. And I'm sure you get that, where they're saying, come try ours, because everybody's going to tell you, especially Greeks, they're going to tell you that their place has the best.
Yeah. And I actually did get a few of those from Chicago. Right. They're very proud. They're all telling me, no offense, but you don't know what you're missing out on by not being in Chicago. Exactly. It's like, hey, guys, I chose to be here. When my parents brought me and I was 3 years old and defenseless, I chose Australia. But no, I would love to try the Chicago food. I've heard that it's insane.
It's really good. But you got to understand, now we have the internet. We have Instagram. We have Twitter. We have all kinds of stuff now, Facebook. So now the world can see everything.
Well,
I went to a place, 14, I'm going to say it to you right now. I went to a place called Greek Gyro Street Food in Nassau, Bahamas.
Nice.
So I was with the comic. I got off the ship. We were going to go to McDonald's, and I saw Greek's Gyro Street Food. I go to the guy. I said to the other comic, I said, who's American, I said, we're going to go in there. If the owner's Greek, we're going to eat here. If it's not Greek, we're not going to eat here. He goes, why is that? I go, there's a reason for it. Because, a lot of people they bastardize Greek food, and I won't eat it at a place that's not Greek. Well, as soon as I walked in the door, I saw the guy's face. He's Greek. George. And we went in there, and he had Bahamian people working, but him and his brother, Stavro, the two Greeks, they have a Greek community in Nassau. They have a church. I had their gyro. It was delicious. So I did a video to show everybody I'm having gyros in Bahamas, a place you wouldn't think.
Can I ask you how long ago was this? Because you might just be the original Gyros Queen.
No, you're the Gyros Queen. I'm just a guy who likes to eat gyros. And I was off a ship in Bahamas. I did a short video. I put it on Facebook. It got 178,000 views.
Oh, wow.
And the guy called me from Bahamas going, Diakonis. Like, what the fuck? I think people were enamored by the fact that it's a bit of Greece. It's a bit of Hellenism. It's not just the gyro you're representing. It's everything that's good about Greeks. And I can't think of a better sandwich. Right now, if you brought us all a sandwich, we'd eat them together right now. I know the guys would eat them too.
Oh, absolutely.
For sure. It's one of those things you want a gyro? Yeah.
So let me ask Kelly a question about this now. You just mentioned about the sandwich. What is it to you, Kelly, that actually makes it a gyro? Like, what do you look for that makes it, that you rate it as this is the shit?
Well, I think it comes down to the meat, the way that it's cooked, the way that it's marinated. It has to have a lot of flavor, because I've had a lot of gyro in my time, and some of it has been a bit bland, or they just don't do it like the way they do it in Greece. I mean, you're talking about now the prices have gone up, sadly, but you're still talking about relatively the cheapest food. So why would the cheapest food in Greece actually taste so good? They obviously have to put a lot of flavor in it.
Right.
And so the meat, if it has a lot of flavor, it's marinated well. And if that tzatziki has a really good ratio of like yogurt to garlic, you don't want to walk out, smelling. You don't want to stink. So if it's like a good mixture of the ingredients, then that's a classic gyro. But the one that I took Angelo to, and I wasn't just going to take him anywhere, I think that one in Surrey Hills here is spot on. It's the closest thing that I've had to a Greek gyro. The guy has just come like 6-7 years ago from Thessaloniki, and he does it. It's like I'm eating it and I'm just sitting on a bench in Greece. And he even does the Thessaloniki version. Like, I know this is controversial, but he does like the mustard and all of that.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah, it's really
French
good.
fries,
It's so fucking good.
Well, you know what? You said, like, you don't know what it is, why it's hard to capture Greece. So my whole entire upbringing, we go to Greece in the summer, and I would always go, first things first is get a souvlaki from the local souvlaki, right? And I would always say, why do they taste so good here? And I remember this very quick story. I'm sitting in the souvlaki, and the whole grill and everything is behind me. And I'm talking to somebody who wasn't from Greece. And I'm like, there's something about being in Greece at a souvlaki. There's no taste like it. And I just remember him looking and laughing and going, I think I know the secret. And he points, and I turn around. I see this old dude over the grill. The cigarette is hanging all the way out of his mouth. He's dripping sweat. And he's like, that's the secret right there. And I was like, yes, that's the secret. That's what makes it so good. But, all jokes aside, there is something about being in Greece and eating. And, we do a lot of wine stuff, and we always say the environment and the atmosphere adds to the flavor. Do you think that's true with gyro too? Like being in the middle of Greece and having that vibe and that like energy, and you're eating a gyro, I think it
100%. Wherever I think, look, whatever you're doing in Greece, anything that you're eating, I personally can't say that I have had bad food in Greece. Yeah. Whenever I go, I usually go to visit my family in Athens, and I've also been to Kalimno, which is like my dad's island, and yeah, Foti, we will get to this soon because I think we're cousins. But everywhere I've been, the food has been amazing, and I think it's just because you're in Greece. I think it's just the whole feeling of how when they see that you're someone that's foreign, when you're Greek from somewhere else, they really go out of their way to make you feel at home.
Oh yeah,
and that's how I know that I'm in Greece, is when I tell them that I'm Greek from Australia, and they're always really happy to meet me. And I think that plays a big role. And also, what's nicer than sitting on a beach and just drinking a Greek beer and having a gyro? Like, literally, that's heaven.
Yeah, very good points. Yeah, we agree. Environment and vibe and energy is definitely a part of the experience.
100%. And so when Foti reached out to me, he saw my surname and he's like, are you from Kalimno? And I'm like, yeah, my dad's side is. And then he told me all this bunch of names of people. And I'm like, I think I know them. So we have some sort of relation.
Yes, we do. Imagine that.
When we say connecting Greeks, we really mean connecting Greeks. Because the only podcast where there's a good chance one of us is related to each other.
Right?
At some point in the podcast. We found out a few times now.
That's awesome.
That's so
awesome.
funny. Well, look, we're fascinated by this, and we're so like happy that you have like this like big following, and we hope you grow. So, Angelo's idea is a pretty good idea if you expand and go to other places, but also out of the ordinary places, I think is really interesting. Like he said, he went to Nassau, Bahamas, and he found a gyro place. Like I think people will be real interested in seeing like you're in the middle of like.
Well,
I mean, I don't even know. Like,
how about
some little village in Ireland, and there's a gyro shop or something.
How about Angelo being in the middle of the ocean on a cruise liner having Greek food?
Oh
Yeah.
And the guy wrote Suzukakia. The Malaka wrote Suzukakia, and they were Spanakopita.
That's awesome.
And I got in a fight with all the cooks on the ship. The guy goes, "It's Suzukakia. It's Spanakopita. It's not Suzukakia." And then the Sri Lankan chef came over. He goes, "These are Suzukakia. This is Spanakopita. This is Suzukakia." And we got into it. Like, how do you know? I go, "I'm Greek. That's how I know." And then we got into it with the guy.
That's awesome. But yeah, I mean, that I think there is a lot for you to expand on. I think it's so cool. And it's real interesting stuff. I mean, all Greeks are totally into this, and even people who aren't Greek, who just like appreciate Greek food or good food. I think that there's an element that's so like enrapturing to them. So
yeah, that's right. And it's also so diverse. I mean, when I took Angelo to Mega Gyros, I just thought he was going to get like a normal pork gyro like I did, but he got inventive and he's like, "No, I want Suzukakia in the pita." And so now when I go today, I'm going to tell them to just name that item the Angelo.
Awesome.
The connections you have, Angelo.
It was so good. I mean, one filled me up, and I was like, "Wow, I wish I could eat two."
Well, ask him to call the Connecting Greeks gyro.
The connecting.
Oh, why
really,
take that away from Angelo?
Really, the connecting. It was my gyro, Forty. Blow out your golo there right away. Make the Connecting Greeks. This is the Connecting Greeks podcast.
I'm pipping you out.
Yes,
If you want that to happen, you have to tell me.
Strategy. Freaking 40. The connecting. What do we call it? The Connecting Greeks gyro.
Stay in your lane, Forty. Stay in your lane.
Stay in your lane, 40.
Hey, Angelo, when you do your next tour, can you do, instead of Angelo Tsaroukas on tour, the Connecting Greeks? Can you do that?
The Connecting Greeks tour. I'm gonna do the 40 said we should call it this tour.
Yes, perfect.
Well, look, we have some questions that Forty is gonna ask you, but the first I'm gonna spoil this a little bit. The first question is, what's your favorite Greek food? We're skipping that. Because we know the answer.
That's a tough one.
We know the answer now.
Oh, we're gonna ask her what's her least favorite Greek food.
Okay, yeah, start with that. Start with that, Forty.
All right, 40.
Yeah, Margherita.
I agree.
Fair.
I don't know why we do it to ourselves. Why do we do it to ourselves?
It's supposed to be a remedy for your hangover, right?
So you're telling me after 40 days of not eating meat, the first thing you want to eat is like sikoti? It's like
intestines. No, you know what it's called? It's called we ran out of food and that's all we had left to eat. That's what Margherita is.
Well, I think growing up, I remember that, preparing for like the Easter feast, it was like, we got to wait for tomorrow, so you can't really eat much. So that was just probably, to your point, the leftover trimmings of what was left from the cooking, right?
It's all, I'm sure that's has something to do with the...
I don't know, I just made that up.
Yeah.
Oh.
I just made that up.
I don't know. I just think it's like I've tried it a couple times and, now I'm old enough where I don't have to eat that anymore because my parents aren't forcing me. So I'm not going to have it.
So if you go somewhere and they have a Margherita gyro, you're not going to eat it?
Oh, whoa, dude. I didn't even think about that.
See, that's tough because anything in a pita, pretty much.
Lather it up with tzatziki, I think you could do it.
No.
As a challenge, yeah. Sure.
So now we established that the Gyros Queen doesn't like Margherita. Okay.
As most people that we speak to, because that's pretty common. So
yeah,
fair enough.
Is. A lot of people also hate kokoretsi for that reason as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Let me tell this, Kelly, that being from Kalimnos, Margherita is not a dish there, but the equivalent would be patsa.
Yeah.
So there's Patsadika all over Athens that are open late night.
Mm-hmm. Not a fan.
Okay, fine.
No, and like if someone wants to go and start their own Instagram, like the Gyros Queen, like do it. Let's see how many followers you get.
2.
You might be onto something. Cool.
For the next.
So we asked 3 questions to our guests just so we get to know you better. So we went through the food part of it, your likes and dislikes. But growing up as a Greek Australian, I'm sure you know, listen to our parents gawk at us and bicker. Are there any Greek sayings that you grew up with that you still kind of listen to still today or use yourself? You
know what? It's so funny because it's almost like I have PTSD. Every time I leave the house, I hear my dad saying "Tamatia sudekatesera."
Yes.
And I don't know why. Like, why? It's embedded in me. He used to say it all the time. My mum would say a whole ton of them, most of which I can't really say on this show. But my dad,
of course you can.
My dad was always like "Tamatia sudekatesera," and as a kid, I thought that was so creepy. But now I'm always like really conscious of where I'm going and what I'm doing because that's in my mind.
Yeah.
Leave it to
he did his job. That's what he wanted you to do, and it stuck to you, and now you're aware. So good.
And, the other funny thing was just a line of advice before I told him that I was going to Kalimno for the first time back in 2018. And it was the first time I was traveling just with my cousin. He's like, make sure if any guy tells you to get on his motorcycle or on his bike, you do not. And that was the last thing he said to me right before I got on the flight. And I thought, God, that is so weird. But you know what happened? The first night I went to Kalimno, everyone stranded me and I was lost in the middle of nowhere. I didn't know how to get back home. And there was this one guy that had his bike. He's like, and I'll take you back home. And then I was like, oh no, my dad would be so pissed off right now. Yeah, I did it. Thankfully, he was a really nice, villager. So it was okay. But it was in my mind.
I would think that if he did something wrong, he couldn't get too far with what he did. Or if he right? Such a small island.
Oh, they're good people.
And now you mentioned, things being embedded in your head and being maybe traumatized, as Greeks and even as Kalymnians, we live by superstition. Mm-hmm. Is there any superstition that you still today live by because of that traumatic?
Oh, I have a ton. And I never thought of myself as a superstitious person. I have a ton. So when I'm at the dinner table, I can't pass the knife to someone. I can't give them the knife. We're going to have a fight. I mean, fair enough. And also to not have my padofles upside down because my mom said that that's really bad luck for my mom.
Oh, that explains it.
Now saying it out loud, I feel like she's just fooling me this whole time.
Well, they're harder to grab, Kelly, so she can whack you with them. That's what she said.
There's so many, but you will never catch me passing the knife to someone to their hand. I'll put it on the table. Yeah.
That's awesome. I love that.
Oh man.
I love when we speak to so many different people and we say this all the time. It's like you could be from anywhere, in any aspect of your life, whatever. If you're Greek, we feel like it's just a very shared experience. We feel like we know exactly what you're talking about. I could almost hear your dad telling you Matia Likatesra. I could almost hear your mom telling you to flip your padoflas over.
It's so funny though, because I always thought, it's funny. I always thought growing up that I was just, with these parents that were incredibly strict and just incredibly unfair. And me being the girl, I couldn't do anything. My brother could go out and party at 15, but I couldn't go to the cinema. I couldn't go to the movies without a parent there until I was 18. What did you think I was going to do at the cinema? I don't know. And so it was very funny because I always thought, I must be the only one that's had such a strict upbringing. And I was going to Sunday school at church until I was 15 years old every single weekend. But then what struck me as I realized in that moment that I wasn't alone was actually going to Angelo's comedy show when he was here in Sydney. And every single thing he said was so relatable. Every single thing. It's like, I've lived this scenario. I have lived this scenario as well. And everyone was laughing because we all knew that the whole crowd knew that we've all been through this. And that's just our upbringing. We're not very different. Even though we're all in different parts of the world, I think we've all had a very similar backstory.
Mm-hmm. And Angelo's so good at picking out those little nuances, those little details of the Greek experience. And that's why wherever he goes, anywhere around the world, he does his Greek show. Everybody's going to relate to it. Everybody's going to love it. And,
yeah, we all grew up the same way.
Yeah.
We all grew up.
Very relatable.
Thanks to our parents.
Yeah, exactly. Kelly, I just got to tell you, it was a pleasure having you on the show. We'd love to have you back, and we want you to keep doing what you're doing because I'm just fascinated by seeing all these different foods and all these different gyros and all these different reviews that you do. And when Foti first told me about you, and then I saw you with Angela, I was like, "What's going on? What is this?" Like immediately, I was like, "Well, I'm definitely going to follow this because this is awesome."
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. It's been a real pleasure. And you guys, if you're ever back in Sydney all together, we got to do a gyro tour.
Oh, I love it.
I want to get the guys first.
Yeah. I want to get a random direct message saying, "Hey, would you like to go with me for a gyro?" I want to have that Angelo experience.
Fine, I'll slide into your DMs.
That's great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I want to thank Angelo as always. I want to thank Foti, and again, thank you, Kelly, for taking the time and being with us. I want to thank everybody out there for watching and listening. This is going to be video podcast. You're going to watch it, listen to it. We're going to have all our information so you can follow her. Make sure you follow her. Make sure you follow Angelo. Don't follow Foti. There's nothing to see there. And we want to thank everybody out there so much.
And connecting Greeks.
Thank you so much, guys.
Bye, Kelly.
Bye.